And for our College All Access this evening, we welcome in Jerry Hill from the Baylor Bear Foundation. Let's talk a little women's basketball here. Let's talk a little football. Big announcement today as Matt Rhule was not introduced, but announced as Baylor's new head football coach. He'll be introduced at a press conference right here in the Farrell Center coming up tomorrow. What's your initial thoughts, and what do you know about Matt Rhule?
Well, one of the things I told Mac Rhodes today is he's very good at his job at keeping things quiet, because that was a name, really, I mean, you guys would probably agree with me, that name was not out there for the longest time. But he said that's the one guy that got offered the job, and I think it's exciting, John. I think you're getting a guy that's coming off 2 10-win seasons, American Athletic Conference champions, so he obviously did a great job in turning around that program, was part of kind of the building with Coach Golden when he was there, and now, you know, has put his own stamp on it there, and just excited to see what he can do here.
I think it's important to note that Mac Rhodes, when he was at the University of Houston, of course, was in the same conference with Coach Rhule, so he was in a lot of meetings and had opportunities to observe him. I think this even proves more than anything. He's known about him for a long time, has observed him for a long time, so I've got the feeling Mac Rhodes knows this is the perfect hire.
And he said in the conference meetings and things like that, he had a chance to meet Coach Rhule and kind of develop a little bit of a relationship, a friendship there. So he knew very well of him. And I think the fact that Mac was in the American Athletic Conference, he can definitely respect what Coach Rhule did there in turning around the program at Temple, because has not had a lot of tradition. That was their first back-to-back 10-win season.
Former linebacker, played at Penn State, coached a year in the pros with the Giants. If there's any question, and I'm sure it'll come up at the press conference tomorrow, he doesn't really have any Texas ties. He'll have to address that with his staff as he puts that together. Yeah,
and I think that's what will happen is his offensive coordinator, Glenn Thomas, is an Eastland, Texas native, graduated from Texas Tech, coached at Midwestern State, was the offensive coordinator there. So he does have the Texas connections. But I think definitely when he comes here, he's got to at least have a couple of guys with more Texas ties. And Mac kind of insinuated that, is that as he gets the staff together, he'll get guys with Texas ties, maybe even some high school coaches. So I think that will happen. One of the things I noticed, John, and if you go down the roster, is that a lot of Florida guys. So that's kind of been one of his bases, is he's recruited very heavily in Florida, and I look for them to kind of continue that pipeline as well.
Jerry, I know you have a chance in your job to observe the national impressions of Baylor in many ways. It looks like the response from respected journalists around the country, this has been very positively received.
I have seen nothing negative from the media at all. It's very positive about him. You know, a young kind of rising star kind of guy, 41. That's a lot younger than it used to be, right? So I think
How do you think I'm feeling, brother?
Right. I think he's getting a lot of respect, and rightfully so. I listened to David Pollack earlier today, the ESPN analyst, and his description is Matt is a stud. So I'll take it on his word, and I think there is a lot of excitement, a lot about his character too, about his integrity, and I think he'll obviously bring that here.
Important hire for sure. Public introduction of Coach Matt Rhule tomorrow at 4 o'clock right here in the Farrell Center. It is open to the public, so come join us tomorrow as we welcome Matt Rhule to Waco and to Baylor as the new head football coach. Jerry, thank you very much. Back with a look at our first half stats in a moment. Baylor leads at the half.